logic when I was like moving things around to set up dashing. But yeah, so we can get rid of that. How did I screw up the logic? I'm now inclined to wonder. Well, it must have something to do with seek mode 1, because seek mode 2 still works. So if seek mode equals 1 and mobs target not equal -1, or equals -1, equals -1. Or dashing 0. So maybe it is targeting and we just have to clear it at the end. I don't know. I want that to be an easy solution, so I'm gonna pretend that is. I'm gonna keep hoping that is the solution. Mobs target 0 equals -1. Save. Yeah! Oh, that totally fixed it for some reason. Sure, why not? Alright. Yay! Thank you, stuff. Oh no! But now he's never picking a new target. Because I need to reset his target cooldown too, I guess? Alright. Sure, I don't mind. Mobs target cooldown equals. Wait, no. Not target time. Not target cooldown, target time. Right? Mobs target time, yeah. Equals, I forget how target time works. I think 0. Zeroing it out means I can target immediately. What? Oh yeah, mob's target time 0 equals 0. Save. Alright, so you're not picking new targets, are you? Why? Why aren't you picking new targets? You just lost all interest. Alright, I didn't think this was part of the targeting system. Or maybe that's not how target time works. Maybe target time 0 means you never target again. Target time mobs target time if mob's target time is less than time.fixed time. 0 is less than time.fixed time. Do you target before you dash? Or do you just never target anymore? Oh, we can move you back to -10. Do you just never target anymore? No, you target. You target until you move, or you target until you've dashed. And after you dash, you just stop targeting. You know you're not dashing, so it's not that. Sweet. Well, we fixed one half, and then the other half was not as enthusiastic. What if instead of slamming the target, we just instead reset the target time? Do target normally? Yes. Do seek mode 1 normally? You do seek mode 1 normally. Now the moment of truth. After dashing. Now you just do nothing again. Now you go back to a listless, meaningless existence. So empty. Why even? Ugh. My hero can't even. So right, I guess we do need the target to get reset. Or, so maybe instead of too little targeting, we're actually doing too much targeting. Maybe it's the fact that we're still processing targeting while dashing is the problem. So what if we just put a temporary freeze on targeting while dashing? If mob's target I is greater than or equal to 0, and no, this is not targeting. Here's targeting. Alright, let's just not process targeting while dashing and see what that does. So we're already not processing targeting when getting knocked around, or mobs in. Oh wait, this isn't just targeting. This is targeting. No, yeah, this block does way more than just targeting. So this block, what block? This block does targeting. What? This block does targeting. What does this block do? Oh no, that's what makes allies. Yeah, that's that gawky thing that makes allies chase the hero using the targeting system rather than. And that's why this conditional is so. But let's make sure not dashing is a condition. I guess. Just see what it does. Just for kicks. Not dashing and all the rest of that. So, oh yeah, and let's take out the hacky whatever's the attempted fixes. See what that does. Alright, so now don't bother targeting while dashing because you're just going to pick one at the end anyways. Alright, I don't know what your behaviors are. So you seem okay, so you're still targeting and all is good in the world. What if we try and move you? Alright, okay, so I don't know what was going wrong with targeting while dashing, but something critical was going wrong that way. We can still seek 2, and look at it, you're back to your old jolly self. Alright, so there's an argument for pre-optimization. Sometimes when you pre-optimize stuff, your systems don't break. Anyways, I think health KB scale might be too high. Maybe it'll start high and it'll get lower as the game progresses. Maybe that's how challenge is introduced. I still have no clue what this game is, how this game works. And I think, no, I don't, I have no clue. I might have to add like a mini-map to this game. Or something. Or a backdrop. I really don't want to add a backdrop. So I might need to add a mini-map. Or some sort of like HUD. Because like, in order to use this this space to put together an interesting game, I either need to make the mobs attack you in some meaningful way, or I need to make the mobs attack something you care about in a meaningful way. And if they're not attacking you, then you need, like if they're attacking something you care about, then those things need to be observable so that you can tell at any given time what dangers might beset your precious whatevers. So yeah, maybe the mobs will just attack you, and maybe you'll just have like a health thing or something. I don't know. I'll figure that out later. All right. I still don't know what I'm gonna do, but some of those options sounded good enough that I'm not gonna worry about it right now. So now we're knocking mobs really high sometimes, but we don't actually care about that, or rather, the game does not yet care about that. Actually, I think we'll want mobs knocked to a certain height to get destroyed, which sounds severe, but by that I only mean they leave the simulation. They have transcended this. They've literally transcended the simulation at that point. The game seems violent, I guess, by nature. Like it's like the easiest it's most easily an analogy for like a battlefield, just in how I'm setting it up. Oh wow, that's weird. Sometimes the mobs that you're dashing with dash differently than how you dash, but like they shift slightly, but whatever. Yeah, so the easiest analogy is like warfare, but I don't think I'm gonna like rub this in the user's face or anything, but I think to me the metaphor is actually that these are wildlife, like birds. These are little birds affected by a terrible pollution, and the reason you're sending them flying is that you're freeing them of the pollution, and then they fly away happily. So you're quote unquote destroying them. And I guess I came up with that naming convention because the way you remove them from simulation is literally destroy, open parenthesis, mob, close parenthesis. But yeah, you're really just destroying their pollution. And that's also why health scales upwards, because you're improving their health by destroying the pollution. Right, so I think I'm going to tune down the dash radius. It just looks weird when you catch dudes too far away from you, like when you only catch a few dudes and they're really far away from you. It also is weird that they translate slightly differently than you do. I wonder what causes that. Oh, I know exactly why. It's because I set up my logic for the hero translation before I realized that the mobs would also be translating along with you, or before it really occurred to me that the mobs would be translating along with you. So there's a case wherein the mob actually does not, or the hero does not actually translate in the by the defined hero translate value. He translates instead by, where is it? What is it? It's curse. Sometimes he translates by curse instead, right? Where? Has to do with what? It has to be right here, right? Did I fix that already? Yeah. No. Yeah. What? Now, maybe I just fixed that already. Oh, no, here it is. Yeah, so if hero underscore translate dot magnitude is less than curse dot magnitude, then the offset for the hero is hero translate. But what is the offset? Yeah, offset. Okay, so no, what I actually want to do is I don't have to. Okay, so I can flip this, right? Wait, actually, there are else's going on here, so let's make sure that I'm not going to ruin one of my else's if I do this. Okay, that's all of an else to this statement. So I can invert this statement. Wait, can I? If hero translate dot magnitude is greater than, is less than curse dot magnitude. So yeah, greater than or equal to, I guess. So if hero translate, yeah, if hero translate dot magnitude is greater than or equal to curse dot magnitude, then we can just cut right to the chase. We can do all of this stuff, but right. So what we're doing here is not actually offset 0 plus equals curse. What we're saying here is that hero translate equals curse. Hero underscore translate equals curse. And let's do that down here because arbitrary reasons, right? Arbitrary reasons. Because we don't actually use hero translate or curse for any of this stuff. Yeah. So we can put it here, and then offset 0, the hero's offset equals hero translate. Which will have been set to curse in that case. Oh, equals. Yep. So now they should all translate the same. Because the mobs had always been translating by hero translate, but then occasionally the hero would translate by curse instead, and now they're all translating by hero translate. All the time. I mean, technically the hero is correct, but now hero translate is also correct. And hopefully I didn't ruin everything. Seems okay so far. I feel like 0.5 is too high for... Yeah, I think my explosion forces are starting too high, and then I'll say 3.5 instead. And then actually, I think health KB scale is actually too low. So let's try that. There's a 3. allows with 3. Alright, yeah, no, dash is still too high. Oh, although I kind of have to scale. I mean, I'm scaling it around. I'm tuning it around 3 now, but 1 is a pretty important one to tune it around as well. So I'll probably have to come up with a much more complex formula for this stuff, is what is occurring to me at this juncture. And I'm not going to do that now, because I don't even have all my game systems working. I am going to implement that game system that I talked about a moment ago. Really? With 3 bombs? That's... Yeah, I mean, I guess the bombs don't stack up nearly as much as the dash stacks up. So, yeah. Actually, that's... I think that's a good enough excuse to... no, that's fine. That's fine how it is, yeah. Dash is supposed to feel powerful. Bombs are supposed to feel powerful, but only for the sheer volume that you can generate. Or primarily for the sheer volume that you can generate. Okay, so 230. Alright. We're making progress. We have dash like working in real life. We almost have the health system set up, which the health system, I mean, I'm going to jinx it now by saying this, but the health system was a lot easier, or a lot simpler than I expected. I don't know. I guess it seemed like a weird idea in my mind. Oh no, I guess, no, what made it super simple is only caring about verticality, which I think is also the correct decision, because chasing down mobs that are really far away is not fun. We're in fact giving the user as many tools as possible to avoid that. So that helps. Right, back to knockback, because when we're processing knockback, we now have another case to consider. If the current y value of the mob's position exceeds this threshold, that's it. Game over, man. That mob is gone. So if mob's I position... Oh. Maybe I shouldn't do this in knockback processing. Maybe I should do this in offset processing. Because then we'll actually take into account the new offset. Alright, yeah, that makes enough sense. And it'll be right at the end of this block. It'll be right at the end of fixed update, so it will literally be the end for them. Poetic. So, yeah, there's all that stuff. And then, once that's all done, if mobs I dot position okay, position mobs I dot position, no, transform dot position, yep, dot y is greater than or equal to, I'm making up a new value now called escape height, maybe. Escape height. Then destruction. Destroy. I'm gonna put braces around this. There's only one statement inside this if majigger, but I know there's going to be more in the near future. Destroy mob. Isn't that the name of the thing? Destroy mob. Alright. Yeah, and it makes sense to do it there. Sure, why not? Save that. And then, oh yeah, we need to make escape height a real thing. So, let's see. I guess I should put it with all the health stuff. Health KB scale, public float, escape height equals, I think 20. That way mobs can go flying off screen and then come back on screen sometimes, but if they like really go flying off screen, then... Actually, what's the height of the camera? Because I don't think we want them to get destroyed while in camera range, so I want them to be not as high as the camera. Or we want escape height to be... Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, so we could bring it down actually, because the camera's only at a height of 13. Or no, the camera's only at a height of 11. So we could bring that way down. Although, nah, I'll leave it at that for now. Because it's kind of funny sometimes when mobs come raining down from the sky. And you won't get that effect nearly as much if they get destroyed immediately leaving camera range. What is the relative like angle of the camera? I think the relative angle of the top of the field of view is actually downward. Oh my god, is it like literally parallel? I think it can't be, because no, maybe it is. And maybe I should bring that in just a skosh, because hypothetically wherever you click on the screen, like if you click on the very top edge of the screen, I'd really rather that be a... Yeah, it'd be nice if no matter where you clicked on the screen, it was a valid point on the ground. Just because clicking on the field means placing a destination marker. So, I don't know. I might bring in the field of view slightly, or I might just rotate the camera down slightly, or both, or maybe I'll just put in like a big brick across the top of the screen that's like non-interactive, like maybe clicking on that range where the quote-unquote score, excuse me, where the quote-unquote score is currently located. Maybe that will not have an effect. All right, so let's move slightly away from the spawn location and let's bomb. I guess I could just I could put in a notify for whether this destruction thing is actually occurring. If we're actually ever reaching it. Let's jack up the power of the bomb so that this doesn't take as long to test. So power strength of bombs is, let's say, instead of 1, it's 5. Boom. Boom. Oh, actually, yeah, we can look in our other view. Mobs are totally getting destroyed as they fly off into space. And then new mobs are getting spawned, presumably. Because I don't think there's any... Yeah. Oh, and right, I'm standing right on top of the spawn point. So that's why that... Alright, zoom around. Zip zap, zoobity bop. Oh, I didn't actually boost the power of dash, which is why that's not having any meaningful... Or it's not... Yeah, there we go. Dash of destruction. Launch those suckers. Right the heck out of there. Alright, and now just because... Whoa. Did we dash and not launch the dude? It looked like... Maybe I just clicked it too fast. Maybe I clicked it before the end of the dash, and so the dash just continued instead of launching the dude. But for a second there, it looked like we dashed, and then the dude did not go flying. I guess it's kind of funny to dash past your bros, because you kind of just steal their targets. Which is fine. You're probably doing more important things with the target than they are. Still funny, though. Oh, look at all the allies you have now. Because the only thing that ever delimited allies before was the max mob count. And now you can actually win, because now you keep doing it. Oh yeah, that mob definitely did not get picked up in the dash. So I should probably scale out the ring of, what is it? Grab min radius. Dash grab min radius. And honestly, that's not the worst thing in the world. Someday we will all be yellow cubes. I guess if I have a I have a win screen for this game, it should just be a sky full of little green dots. So, I forget, no, I probably got distracted by all these, like, bugs that I'm seeing, but, so I probably never actually said that I want to put in the point system, now that you can actually achieve something for which the game would foreseeably reward points. It's not a current build anymore, but last night I put a build online. So if anyone would care to have as much fun clicking silly buttons as I'm having, almost as much fun. It's not a current build anymore. It was current as of last night. It's online at srsly.bz/hero. It's not linked from anywhere because the project is not at all done. Still got a little ways to go, but oh my gosh, it totally happened again. I swear it happened again. We dashed and then we didn't blow up at the end. I swear it happened. I swear I'm not making it up. Why? Why would that happen? Maybe, yeah. Well, maybe I should add in like a. Maybe I should add in what, like a little bit of room for error in terms of like hitting the destination, because maybe the explosion doesn't happen when you like hit the destination right on the head. Maybe if you like land exactly there, then the I don't think that would do it. I mean, we did say less than or equal to. Or maybe there's a rounding error that happens after that. Oh, either way, I did say I wanted to increase the dash grab min radius by, or decrease the min radius by a little bit. So let's put it down to 7 for now. I mean, we might find later on that we can increase that. Or we might find that it affects performance at 7. And we will find that out when we find that out. So what? So, right, okay, yeah. So now if a mob gets destroyed, let's add some points and win the game, basically. But we don't really have a concept of our points jigger at the top of the screen, so let's add in that. So public game object points text, I guess, or score text. Score text, and then let's indicate what we mean when we say that. Score text is this object here. And so, okay, so now when on start, let's set score to 0, the score text to 0. So score text dot GUI text dot text, all the text, equals 0. Oh, and we'll also want to keep track of score. So we'll have a score to text, and we'll also have score, just int score equals 0. And then when a mob is destroyed, which is down, way down. So when a mob is destroyed, I guess I could put this right in destroy mob. Yeah, why not? I mean, as I mentioned, I think that is actually literally the only place we'll be destroying mobs, but whatevs. So score, so yeah, plus plus score, and then score text, score text dot GUI text dot text, all the text, equals score dot to string, parentheses. And now I can go back to doing that thing I was doing incessantly a moment ago, except now I can earn points for doing it. Yeah, and actually I feel like the health KB scale is still too low, so I'm going to crank it up to like 0.5 for now. And yeah, I might have to yeah, that'll probably actually change over the course of the game, so I can probably actually, oh, look at all the score I'm getting. Look at all these points. Delicious points. Woo, that was a good one. Zoom. Alright, I like this. I'm having fun. Wow, yeah. This game looks a lot different when you scale up the verticality of knockback, because there's just like nearly constant dudes like flying all over the place. Or flying up and down, basically. Just raining dudes constantly. I mean, they're birds, so like they go flying up really high, and it looks like they hit the ground hard, but they're experts in hitting the ground, I guess, so they're okay. They're safe. I guess I could, if I really wanted to, I could drive home the fact that they are experts at hitting the ground by like slowing their descent at the bottom, I guess. I don't know. Definitely not a mandatory feature. So sometimes dashing is sometimes you just like go back and forth, like literally like you trace across the same swath like multiple times, which is uninteresting. So I might want to come up with like some way of checking that the angle, like keep track of the angles at which you've dashed and make sure that they're not like 180 degrees of the previous angle or something. You know, make sure they're like not within like 30 degrees of 180 degrees. For now, I think it's okay, because it doesn't happen very often. And it only happens when, you know, when the conditions are exactly... Wow, are we really already at 1,200 scores? That means we've... Well, I guess Dash is really powerful right now. It just means that we've gone through max mobs, like, 4 times over at this point? So, yeah. What are we doing? What to do next? I guess I could... Well, I did kind of like that idea for the new ability, so maybe we could start... Maybe we could move forward with that and see how that turns out. I think it has potential. It's probably going to be weird, because we'll have to calculate the trajectory of the whirlwind to throw the mobs precisely such that they land at the hero, which is a little bit funny, because like the higher they're thrown, the further they'll go, which sounds like an obvious statement, but what I mean is that the distance they'll travel not only pertains to not only pertains directly to the, it doesn't only correlate in the usual way to the y value of the knockback vector. It also, that the y value of that knockback vector also changes the mob's health, which changes how high it's thrown, which in turn changes how far it's thrown. So that was like the slightly confusing thing that I kind of wanted to find a way to avoid before, and now here we have this example of why maybe I wanted to why maybe my instincts to avoid it had been on point, but I don't know. Let's see. Which to do? What to do? I'm thinking I should just put that into knockback calculation instead of knockback processing, and then I can like unify knockback calculation so that way wherever it happens, it if I need to change it later, I'll only need to change it in one place. So then, hum-de-dum, by which I mean, let's stop this. Let's start setting up the unified knockback, because it's entirely possible that I don't want this to be up here anymore. I want it to be somewhere else instead. I want it to be... Oh, I'll put it right next to this. Convenient. So, yeah, because it's entirely possible that once I start unifying knockback calculation, I'll realize exactly why I don't actually want to unify knockback calculation. So let's go with void knockback. Or should I do yeah, void's probably fine. Yeah, knockback calc. Mi mob index, and then vector 3, I think is all I need, because that'll say how much knockback we're expecting to apply, and then we can calculate, we can apply that knockback, then we can calculate we can apply that knockback based on the mob's current health, then we can adjust the mob's health based on based on the knockback. And we can even adjust the mob's health based on the expected knockback, like the base knockback. We don't even have to use the adjusted knockback, which I think is one of the advantages of the other system, and by unifying it, it can be an advantage of this system as well. So yeah, vector 3 KB. So what are we going to do here? We are going to take vector KB, so KB, so what are we actually going to do? We're going to say that knockback mi, the knockback of our mob index, plus equals the, what was the calculation we were performing? It was like, was it slightly weird? No, I think it was slightly weird because of what we were doing it. Oh yeah, no, it was slightly weird. So yeah, knockback plus equals KB times 1 plus 1 plus mob's health mi times health KB scale. Wait, no. No. Health KB scale happens outside of the addition. So yeah, KB times 1 plus mob's health mi times health KB scale. Then and then, yeah, okay, so this is fairly simple. So it's literally just those two things that we talked about, and they are each a single statement. And that the other is that mobs health mi plus equals kb dot y. Simple, super effective. And now the calculation of our whirlwinds trajectories will be a lot simpler because we won't have to worry about like that compounding effect that we would have had previously. Right, because like the previous system avoided compounding. I forget if the previous system avoided compounding health values and trajectory and knockbacks, or just knockbacks. But now let's go back and tidy up knockback. It was I think last time we looked at this, it was actually the last 3 usages. Whoops, I guess I was kind of at those. Yeah, I think it was like usage. Oh no, here's one. Yeah. So now instead of doing that, let's say knockback calc I, and then what was the other one? KB? Yeah, KB I. And then I think we can get rid of this stuff. But I'm just going to comment to that in case I make a huge conceptual error or a minor conceptual error that results in like huge confusion on my behalf. Alright, not that one. Yes, yep. So now let's, instead of doing that, let's do knockback calc. I, in this case, I think we care about di. Di, and then the vector is this one, this cool vector here. I'll need a new parenthesis, close parenthesis, close paren. And then I will comment this out. I guess I can just comment each line individually. And then one more, right? One more. Yeah, this one. So knockback calc. Mob's target I is the target, is the index, because it's the index of the target, not the index of the mob. And knockback in this case is KB underscore n. I don't know why I appended n underscore n there and not anywhere else, but whatever. Alright, so now we're doing the health scaling to the knockback vector at the time that we're setting the knockback, so we don't have to do that anymore in the knockback processing, which is kind of a weird place to have done it in the first place, but whatevs. So yeah, we don't have to care about any of this stuff. Offset can just be knockback I times time fixed delta times phi speed. But again, I'm going to comment this stuff out in case I've made a small conceptual error that proves difficult to untangle, as is my way. Yeah. So did nothing change? Let's hope nothing changed. Let's hope all that work was for naught. Oh, all that work definitely changed something. seem to have, like, I don't know, the end result of whatever I did is as if the health KB scale is, like, enormous right now. So let's see what I might have done. So does this system, I don't know, that seems legit. Oh, no, yeah, I think health KB scale just means something different in this system, because the system is slightly different than the previous one, or this version of this interpretation of the system. So let's try 2 instead. Yeah, I think the scale is just different. Probably because of the benefit we added. We now don't have to... Oh! Well, yeah, I know one thing that I implemented incorrectly about the new system, and maybe you noticed at home too. I'm multiplying by I'm multiplying the entire knockback vector and not just the y value of the knockback vector. So things are going like crazy distances. They're just going off in every direction in a way that I did not intend. So, right, because we're not multiplying the entire. All right, so I'll say vector 3 kby kb underscore y d equals new vector 3 kb.x, and then here we will calculate the multiply e thing that we calculate. Whoops, no, not that. Based on the y value, and then this, so the z value will also stay the same. So x and z totally the same. Y value gets super scaled, and then knockback plus equals. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So actually, knockback calc is actually going to be a vector 3 that returns the vector, because I remember in the dash case we actually want it. We could have done it either way, but whatever. In the dash case, the knockback is not plus equals. It's yeah. So sorry. In that case, it's hard set to this calculated knockback vector. So instead of et cetera, we're going to instead of what we had been doing, we're just going to return this new vector. And then, so now if we go to those places that we had been using knockback calc, which were just the 3 places, knockback calc, we can say knockback I equals et cetera, or plus equals et cetera in this case. Wait, is this the case? This is explosions, yes. Those are bombs, so yes, plus equals, and in no, that's so then in the case of dashing, this is the case where it's equals, not plus equals. So knockback di equals that good stuff, and then in the targeting case, this is also plus equals. So knock back, what is it? Mobs target I. um, equals, or plus equals that calculated value. Alright, now let's see if we didn't ruin everything. Alright, so 2 might still be a bit low. Oh no, 2 is probably fine, except it got unset because we did that in play mode last time. Okay. Huh. That's cool. At the end of the dash, one of the mobs goes flying because he gets the extra kick from the hero's auto attack. 19 points, 25 points. Bombs everywhere. I might want the explosion of the bomb to extend higher. I don't want... Yeah, so I might need to change scan range multi to allow the user to specify a height value, because when choosing a target for the bomb, I don't want to choose a dude that's like super high in the air. But when processing the explosion of the bomb, airborne targets can get exploded too. Alright, yeah, and it seems like we did not ruin everything with that change. So, what was the thing? Oh yeah, changing scan range multi. Yeah, it's a small change, but I feel like it'll be important because mobs get blown a lot higher than they used to, and also bombs are supposed to be a bread and butter attack. So if in a supremely common scenario our most basic attack does not function especially effectively, that would be somewhat off-putting. So I hope I can scale the game so that you get to this state like really fast, because like this, I don't know. I was thinking like the game would start out slow and like amp up to this, and maybe it still should, but like it's gotta amp up to this, because I'm literally, I don't know. Okay, okay, sorry. Spending too much time pressing buttons. So okay, scan range multi is gonna have a new parameter. It is going to have range min, range max, and then float. Y max, I guess. Y max. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Oops, sorry. Yeah. So save that. Now that has to also get passed into scan cell multi, because I think scan cell multi is where we're actually distinguishing on that basis. So yeah, and scan cell multi, I had been cutting it off at 1F. So scan cell multi now also has float Y max, and so we will no longer check by if it's less than or equal to 1.5. We will check if it's less than. We will check if the position of the mob in question its Y value is less than or equal to Y max, and that won't happen unless we actually pass Y max in from scan range multi to scan cell multi. So let's do that. There are 8. Here's the first 1, 2. Did I miss one? I did miss one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now when we use scan range multi, we need to now specify that. Oh, or Right, I was saying I didn't necessarily want a maximum value some of the time, so I guess I could just put in an arbitrary large maximum value. I was thinking I could have it handle. Yeah, I'll just use arbitrary large maximum values. I could have it handle 0 as a as having no maximum, but arbitrarily large values is fine too. I only use scan range multi in like 2 places maybe. And let's look at those 2 places now. Scan range multi. So now we have to add in 1. So where's this? Oh, this is dashing. Oh yeah. So for dashing, we'll just make it arbitrarily large. I forgot we use scan range multi for dashing. So, right, because you can catch dudes at any height. Oh, and it used to be 1f. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll make it like the same as the radius. That way you can catch dudes. Trisox! Hey! How's it going? Yeah, thanks for joining us. We added in score, like sort of, like we actually added in like we're like I don't. So yeah, I finished Dash, and then I fixed a bunch of bugs, and then I didn't know what power number 3 would be exactly, or the third ability would be. So I started working on the score and like the general game system regarding like mobs' health and like knockback, and how knockback scales mobs how knockback scales with mobs' health. And while I was doing that, I figured out what I want the third ability to be. So I'm gonna do that. I'm planning on doing that next. But first, I am just tweaking the bombs to detonate targets that might be in the air above the bomb, as well as like the targets that are on the ground. So I was just tweaking scan range multi, how that worked, and well, I did tweak scan range multi, and now I'm retrofitting its usage with the new parameter of Ymax. So yeah, for dash, I guess I might as well just make it the same as like the radius, right? Which is power range 1 times dash radius scale. So it'll just be like anything in the vicinity. Like basically this way you'll be able to like catch dudes as they're falling, and they'll get caught up in the dash too. Yeah. I added in. For some reason I thought I had finished dash yesterday, but then I realized like I didn't have like multiple dashes, because like you can kind of like how you can multiply bombs, you can also multiply any of your powers, and so if you multiply dash, you don't just dash once, you just keep darting around the map like however many number of times, and then there's the big toss up at the end. So all right, now with this change, actually you'll get even more mobs caught up in the dash, because with the changes that we made to knockback, like dudes are flying everywhere, like all the time, like constantly, and so yeah, I think you'll just this way you'll just like kind of like snatch them right out of midair, and they'll get caught up in the blast. Yeah, that's fine. That might be too high, actually. That might look weird. Like, you might be catching too many dudes out of the air. So I might actually want to do half of that. Half the radius. We'll see how that looks. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Or that's an interesting topic, because as I was starting to implement some of those game systems, it was occurring to me that my image of the like the finished product is a little hazy around some of those corners. So I have a lot to figure out in terms of like what's the threat? Like what's like I don't it right now it's basically just a playground, because there's no there's no imminent threat. There's no like negative outcome. Like it's basically just like here is a space in which you can click buttons if you are so inclined. So I'll have to figure that out. So all right, that was one instance of scan range multi. For for the bomb activation, right? For the first bomb activation, this is the one where we actually want it to be relatively low, and we were using 1.0f or 1f previously, and I think that was probably fine. However, the very next activation, this is the explosion that we want. We want actually an arbitrarily high explosion. So let's again use the radius. So I guess, I don't know. If I'm just going to use the radius like every time, then maybe that was silly, but whatever. So was there one more? There's two more. What? Wait, what did I just change? Oh, right. Yes, right. I remember. It's used multiple times for dashing. Okay, so again, let's just use the radius, and then right. Okay, those are all the usages of it. So now that should be good. Yeah, right. Yeah, here I'll run the simulation because I think like what you're describing is probably probably a little bit similar to like how it's actually looking now. In that, okay, so like you have, I mean, I don't know if you noticed like the number at the top of the screen is actually, it's not just always like some arbitrarily high number. And actually, so yeah, if you look over in the in this view, you can see like when mobs reach a certain height, they just disappear, and that's actually like the I don't know, that's like kind of like what I call it, the escape height, because that's basically like the height. If you knock a mob to that height, that mob's gone, and you just get points for it. So that's yeah, that's how it's looking now. So bomb still works. Dashing, you can see I have it set to 3, so like it's a triple dash now. Although that'll change as the game is played. And actually, yeah. So let's see. I guess hypothetically, bombing is working a little bit better than it had been before, because now bombing is like, you can actually, like when a bomb goes off, like the dudes in the air are affected as well. And as you'll notice with bombs going off is that there are a lot of dudes in the air at any given time. And just like when you dash, like that does it too. What do I usually start with when developing a new game? The first thing I come up with is, rather than coming up with a full idea for a game, I come up with what I can identify as a crucial or core aspect of a game that I know will be, well, essentially, like, instead of pinning down like as much as I can about a given game, I'll try and find one thing that I can be the most certain about. So, for example, with Grav, I knew I wanted to make a game where you control the character based on it's like physically reasonable attraction, like gravitational attraction to your input. I kind of knew I was targeting mobile, so like tap based, wherever you tap on the screen, essentially you can create. That was kind of like the inspiration for that game, or that was like where I started with that game. I knew I wanted a game with that control scheme, and so the first thing I did was to set up precisely that. I just had the first build of the game. I'm just gonna pull it up real quick. Well, actually, I can look at an early build of the game. It's not going to be literally the first build, but srsly.bz / what is it, grav /p1. I hope it works. Oh, it probably is not. It might not work on this computer because this is the computer that I had to fix those. This is the computer that was experiencing the same bug that you had been experiencing with like flat colors. Okay, yeah, it works. Okay, so yeah, it has like a setup kind of like what the final version had. But okay, so if you picture like if these pills and if the little capsules and the bricks were just not here at all, and if there wasn't even like the original build of Grav didn't have multiple spheres in it. It only had one sphere. And so I had one sphere. I had oh, you can see like you couldn't in the original build you couldn't drag the Nexus around. It actually took me a while to add dragging to the Nexus, and the reason I I held off so long is because I don't like dragging my finger around a tablet screen. I find that to be not fun. I like it makes like this weird smeary like unpleasant sensation on your finger, which I don't like. But okay, so yeah, so I knew I wanted to make a game with that control scheme, and then and so I made quite like I made a project with that control scheme, like not a complete game. I just made that control scheme, and then so when I was spinning so when I had just this completely empty field, and I was just making this this sphere like move around the field, and again remember it was just a single sphere. The other ones weren't there. I was like, okay, well then, what's gonna make this interesting? And so the obvious next step was to add something for the sphere to collide with, because with only one sphere and this control scheme, it's actually really easy to make the sphere go exactly where you want. You basically just here like I mean, I'm kind of focusing on the lightly colored sphere right now, and of course it's getting interference from the other spheres, which I added in at some point. But if I'm really only just trying to get this one sphere to go where I want it, like it's actually not that hard. It basically like you just have to once you learn how to nudge it, it'll go pretty much exactly where you want it. So right, what will it collide with? For the simplicity of like the geometry, I was like, okay, squares. So that was where the blocks came from. I just I was like, okay, so if it's going to collide with something, let's start with like a completely simple shape that I know will make for interesting trajectories when it bounces. And so the blocks were added, and then it's like, okay, well, it added in the blocks knowing that I'd kind of want the blocks I'd want the capacity to clear the blocks, so I made it so that when you hit them, they explode, or they get cleared. But once that was there, I was like, okay, well, and then clearing blocks didn't feel like an objective. It felt like something I felt like a compulsion to do it, but not out of not because it was necessarily something that I felt I was like getting rewarded for doing, but rather it was like I felt I had like some sort of obligation to do it for fear. Essentially, like fear of the blocks was compelling me to clear them. So I added in the capsules for something like lighter, so that there's like some representation of hope on the field. Like you can see capsules, and you're like, oh, that's something that's not threatening to me. Something that's an objective that exists only for delight and poses me no threat, no harm whatsoever. So I basically made that game, and I was sitting there playing it, and I'm like, this is easy. This is trivially easy. And so the way I had set up the sphere, the single sphere, to respond to the cursor, I was like, I could just drop in another sphere, and that would respond to the cursor the same way. So I just started dropping spheres in, and that was when I realized that like the game only reaches like any level of difficulty if you have if you have multiple spheres. Interestingly, the game actually is entirely playable with only 2 spheres. Or I mean, like it reaches like the level of challenge that you might expect in a game with only 2 spheres, and actually it reaches a slightly greater level of challenge with 3 spheres. The challenge with 3 spheres is not markedly greater than the challenge with 2 spheres, or at least it was not in my experience. And the way the spheres moved with 3 is actually a lot more interesting than how the spheres moved with 2. So from there, so at that point, like, I basically had, actually, yeah, no, sorry, I missed a step, because with multiple spheres, the game actually became easier and easier. So it was only right. I dropped in the spheres not because I knew I needed a challenge, but because I figured why not. I just wanted to see what it did, and when I realized I needed a challenge, you're right. So that's when I came up with the color differentiation. So then I added in like the system whereby there's one light sphere, one dark sphere, and one red sphere, and that the all of the essentially everything in the game follows that those color patterns, and et cetera, et cetera. And that was the point at which I essentially had like the game operational, and then here I'll just jump to that was the first build. Oh yeah, so once I had the game operational, I basically just made the no, actually, yeah, that was essentially the first playable build. So then I showed it to people, and they said that they wanted a way to clear they wanted the capacity to like clear everything on the screen, because when you kind of saw in the previous build, stuff was like just like popping in here and there, and it was like popping in at like a steady and constant pace. It was virtually impossible to actually ever get like the entire board empty. So then I added in this timer bar, so now you can empty the board, and then it'll give you a brief pause, and then it gives you more it gives you more items. Oh, this is another interesting point, but I'll get to at some point. It gives you more items, and then it gives you more time, and so you have the opportunity to clear it again. And so this way, the introduction of new shapes was at an intervals that people could still get that feeling of satisfaction. That was what I found out after the first playable and the first like feedback that I had to respond to. So I forget what I changed for the third playable. Oh wait, I think I know. I changed the scoring system for the third playable. I made minor art tweaks. I changed the scoring system, and most importantly, I don't know if you noticed in the second playable build, things like these shapes would all appear at once, but then more of them would trickle in slowly over the course of the level. So it was kind of like a hybrid of this build and the first build, where you would not only get the waves of shapes, but you would also get the slow trickle. In this build, I cut out the slow trickle altogether. So the only time shapes ever appear are at the beginning of a wave. I also I forget if it was in this build or the next build. I don't know if you saw earlier, there was a capsule in the very corner of the screen, and I was struggling to get that stinking there's just that one capsule in the corner of the screen. What I realized is that this must be the build that I realized it for. It's really unfun to try and get a capsule off the side of the screen. So you'll notice like capsules never spawn in this border. Bricks will spawn in this like edge along the sides of the screen, but capsules will never spawn there because they're just no fun to collect from that space. It's just they're relatively small. Like their colliders are relatively small. So like when you put them just up against that bouncing surface, it just not an enjoyable experience. I mean you probably kind of like at this point recognize the game like by the third playable build. This is basically the final game. I forget, it was either for the fourth or I think it was for the fourth build. You might notice I changed was it for the fifth build? I thought it was for the fourth. Yeah, I guess it was for the fifth then. That I changed the scale of the game, so like the shapes are all a lot larger, and and this was the build that broke the build. So hold on, I'll jump to the sixth. The shapes are a lot larger. I did another color pass, and what? The sixth one doesn't work either. Oh, right, because we're up to 7. Derp. Okay, yeah. I did a color pass. I moved the score bar to the top of the screen. This build was after I'd done the Android port, and I had an opportunity to like play it and see people playing it on the actual Android device. So like the first thing that was obvious is that when you're holding like if you're playing this on a phone, your thumb would like cover up the score for like yeah, so that was yeah, and so yeah, for this particular game, it was the control scheme. But for anytime I start a game, I try and start with like one thing that I can be fairly certain is not going to change over the course of the project. I'm willing to change like basically anything about a project, but when it gets to the point that I think I would have to change like that core fundamental thing that I went into the project with, that's usually my cue to start a new project instead. Like that's when I know that like, maybe this experiment is not the right experiment for me, or maybe it was just an experiment. Maybe I have sufficient data from this experiment that I can move on to the next thing, and yeah. So there's actually a build that looked exactly like this build, but didn't have the power ups in it. That was like build 5 or 6, and then the last thing I added was the power ups. So that was Grav. I won't go into nearly as much detail because I realize I've just spent like 7 minutes now going over it. But just to quickly look at VBox. Excuse me, please let me insert a cursor here. Oh, cool, it's loading that version. All right. It must have it like cached to the internet files. So actually, yeah, let's look at the first version of VBox. Actually, one thing you'll notice about the first version of VBox is that it looks almost identical to the finished version of VBox. For one thing, I made fewer updates to it. For another thing, there was much less experimentation involved. I had like a lot more figured out going in. This is a game that I'd been working on in my head for like on and off for like a couple of years. Well, so okay, yeah. So if I were planning to make a first-person shooter, what is the first thing I would start with? So I will answer your question, but just as a small point, I would never at the outset choose something like first-person shooter, because first-person shooter is something that's been done a million times over. The thing that I was talking about, like the core essential thing that I try and look for in a project, is actually something that will differentiate it as well. So, like with Grav, part of the reason I wanted to make that game is because I'd never played a game that, and that's not to say that a game with that sort of control scheme doesn't exist. It's just that I didn't know of it, and so whatever it is, if there are other games out there that use that control scheme, I'd be interested to try it actually to see what other people came up with. But yeah, so yeah, I try and start with something that will differentiate the product rather than like not arbitrary, but like rather than like another constraint, because like a constraint that is not necessarily beneficial to the project is not necessarily a good thing, right? You only want to constrain yourself to the things that are the most important. Okay, but hypothetically, if you had to make a shooting game, because you have to make a shooting game for whatever reason, yeah, I guess I kind of boiled down like what does that mean to me? Like, because when you think of shooting games, there are a lot of features that you think of, but like, at least for starters, I would think about like what is going to literally define it as a first-person shooter. I mean, like, the obvious things are the camera and, like, the presence of projectiles, I suppose. So, like, I guess, like, if I were literally going to sit down to start to make one of those, I would probably I would set up a camera. Actually, do you want to just do it? Hold on. Save this project. Close that solution. Alright, so new projects. We're going to put it where? We're going to put it at the same place we put all our other projects. Projects. New folder. I've been giving my projects 4-letter names for starters. So let's call it first person shooter, FPSH. um, which I'll probably pronounce as fish. All right, so now we have our project. Now we have our project. Oh, yeah, save our other project. Save that other project. So what makes a first-person shooter is, well, so one thing that I've just been doing for most of my projects is that I use a fixed resolution of, well, that's not important. I'll just use this for now. Okay, so yeah, I've been using roughly 3:4 aspect ratio because it works well for tablets. And most of the projects I expect to end up on tablet at some point. At least that's the platform that interests me the most right now. So now we have our camera. So it's a first-person shooter. So we want our it's a first-person shooter. So we want to shoot things, and we want those shots to emanate from our camera. So let's do that. So a physics-based shooter? Alright. So, yeah, I like that. You know in games where you have a grenade launcher and, like, on, like, just a simple on, like, a simple, like, you know, straight line projectile, like, it actually, like, bounces around and stuff, like, I don't know, that's the first thing I thought of with physics-based shooters, but, we don't even have to know that yet. We know exactly how to make the physics yet because we can just so alright, we have our main camera, so we're almost all the way there. Let's just add a script to it. Actually, before we add the script, just one thing that I know that we're going to do in the editor is that we'll need a bullet. Well, we don't need a bullet, but I want a bullet, so I'm going to create a sphere that's a cube. One more time. I'm going to create a sphere, and then the sphere is going to be our bullet prefab. So, yeah, we don't actually need that. So yeah, now we have a script. This I'm just gonna call it play because I'm so creative like that. Oh, yeah? Oh, that'd be interesting. I'd play that. I'd play that game. Yeah, so, okay, yeah. So if that's your, if that's like the seed, like the core that you build the game around, yeah, to me, I would, yeah, like if first-person shooter is what you feel, then like that sounds good, but I might even, like the part about that idea that interests me, or the part about that idea that really sparks my curiosity is the fact that it uses like the planetary physics of like a game like Mario Galaxy, but instead of like, whereas Mario Galaxy is like a platformer, it like a first person shooter. Well, no, I guess a first person shooter doesn't necessarily have to be a multiplayer game, but yeah. So maybe that's your core. So then, all right. So then instead of like just setting up a basic camera that like emanates projectiles, I'd actually probably start with the traversal system. Personally, like I like shooting games. Like some of my favorite games have been like GoldenEye and Team Fortress 2, so like I clearly get what's going on there. They don't have, to me, they're not like the siren song. They're not what allures me about video games. So in that situation, personally, I would start setting up like the planetary physics to get those how I want, and then make a character that can traverse the planets, and make sure that the character movement feels good, and then the shooting, yeah. So that'd probably be. I guess I don't really have to go through this exercise, but that'd basically be how we'd go about that. And so like, yeah, the first things I would make sure to lock down were the to make sure that the traversal feels good. If shooting is your interaction method, make sure that like the bullets go where you want. Make sure the rate of fire and the guns. Make sure you have like the diversity of guns to make the gameplay as interesting as you want it to be. Make sure that all of those like core systems are locked down. I'm probably gonna. This is probably a very biased answer that you're getting from me, and that's because the things that interest me the most about games, the things that I can do fairly well are systems design. So, yeah. So I guess to answer your question as myself, the first thing I would do is start designing systems. But again, that's a very biased answer because that's basically all I do in games is design systems. So, yeah, so that was kind of a roundabout answer, but I hope I've at least provided enough insight for you to have a sense of that part of the process. For me personally, anyways. Where was I? I was in Hero. What? This isn't Hero. Oh, it is Hero. It just doesn't have the scene open. Yeah, there we go. This is Hero. This is the game we know and love. Still works. Still works just like we expected it to. Yeah. Maybe I should tone down the hit cooldown for dash. Currently, whenever you dash, one mob goes like flying so far into the. Yeah. Yeah, I've never worked with CryEngine, so I don't know how. Like, what are the what's like the setup process there? The thing that I like about Unity, and actually the thing that I was thinking of demonstrating, is just how delightfully simple it is to put together the core of the project, like I was describing. Grav version P1. I'm gonna pull it up again. Just I'm not gonna spend as much time on it, but srsly .bz /grav/p1. I made this in a day. Like I sat down around I think I got started at around like 9 or 10 in the morning, and I think at around like 4 in the afternoon I had it done. Oh no, you know what? No, I started it and I worked on it for most of the day. Like probably about like I probably put in a good like 8 hours, and then a lot of that time actually was just tuning the control scheme, and then the next day, Tuesday, I put out the first build. So that is like from from that day forward, I was like, yeah, this is a pretty cool development environment to work with. Okay. Right. So that was a that was a brief postmortem or brief mortem of Grav. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Programming. All right. Sorry, I amused myself. Sorry, I amused myself way too much. So we just refactored scan range multi, slightly, very slightly, and now it's time for Power 3, I guess. Power 3 is going to be weird because, for one thing, the multi has a strange application. Like, it's not like you can have multiple cursors or anything, so... Actually, no, I guess it's not that weird. Unlike the bombs, where, like, multiplication means, like, more at the same time, it's going to be more like dash, where multiplication means you basically get a bunch of them back to back. So, for starters, it's only going to... it's going to stay relatively brief. Like, it's just going to... show up for like a short period of time, but then if you multiply it, it'll actually stick around for a while, and you can basically like, if you really multiply it, you can probably clean up like basically the whole board, not the whole board, but like a lot. So let's go to our power block. Let's stop at it instead of scrolling past it this time. Okay, so oh, we were at our power block. Delightful. Here we are in our power block. We now have case 2. So what are we going to do? What's going to happen when we click this button? Well, this isn't literally when we're clicking the button. This is the result of having clicked the button. So one thing we need to do is so if this power is going to have a duration, if it's going to last for a period of time, then when we click the power, we have to know what is that duration. We don't necessarily have to start counting it down yet, because I actually don't want to start counting down until the player moves their cursor off of the... Oh. Huh. Something just occurred to me. This works great with a cursor. Does not work nearly as great, in my opinion, with a tablet. I don't like smearing my finger around a tablet. Call me weird, but that's not something that appeals to me. So gosh, all right, maybe are we back to the drawing board? Is that gonna be like a silver bullet through the or a bullet through the heart of this the whirlwinds? All right, that threw me enough that I'm probably gonna work on other systems again until I know what I'm actually doing there. All right, so all right, so if I'm not going to do that, then I can instead do what? What else do we need to do in order to finish this game? I guess I can do the UI system, because I can do UI and modifiers. That was something that I talked about earlier. Because like currently the only way to modify powers or modify abilities is to hack these public variables, or these variables that I can control, and that's not necessarily how we want it to be for the finished product. So yeah. So what then? So okay, so I think I'm going to make a slight change to how I'm setting up my data here. I think I'm going to so as of yet so I have all these variables regarding power. I have the strength, the speed, the range, and the multiplicity. As of yet, I already have a different base feeling of like what I want the... Oh no, I changed the range of the bomb. So maybe those all start at 5. And these all start at 1, I know. The thing I want to decide or define though, and hopefully something that would be convenient to define consistently is the degree to which something increases, the degree to which these variables increase based on the decision that you make. So, alright, 2 things just occurred to me. Your hero has these qualities as well. So while I think I had defined separately similar values, like corresponding values for the hero, I actually need, instead of like having these as size 3, I'm going to make them size 4 to accommodate the hero. I'm also going to bump him up 1 more to actually size 5, and then I'm going to use the 5th one as the as like the indicator of the degree to which the values change. So like kind of the delta. So right, so now elements 1, 2, 3, and 4 represent the 3 powers and your hero. The square is your hero. The interface will be that the ones on the top of the screen are the modifiers, and you drag them down to the bottom of the screen to choose which to put where. And you can have them like piling up. So like you can have collected many, and if you don't use them immediately, then they start to pile up and extend off screen. Yeah, so, right. Huh, excuse me. Oh, yeah. So stuff like range, power range, it's represented elsewhere for the hero, and that's because the allies and the mobs also have a relative sense of range. Like the ally range might not be the exact same amount as the hero range, and since all of those, yeah, since the hero acts like a mob a lot of the time when he's acting autonomously, like so much of that, it's really convenient to process all of those characters in the same way, and so it was convenient to have their values of those, like have the, for example, the range and the power, for each of the different character types together, separate from the power. So maybe I won't worry about that. Maybe, well, for one thing, multiplicity is not actually a value. It's just a state of of like the number of allies you have. So, all right, actually, okay, I lied. They are going to only be 4. These are going to be of size 4. Not 45, 4. Not 45, 4. I swear, not 445. Okay. I don't know why that was happening. Right, so, yeah, I lied. They're going to be size 4. The fourth element will be the fourth element will be the amount by which the other values increment when increasing, when modifying up. So like, we know that like range starts at around 5, or we're thinking that range starts at around 5, and like each time you increase range, it'll, I don't know, increase by like 2 maybe, or something. I don't know. That's going to be a tough one because, I mean, that was just an example, but range is, again, it's going to be tough because I don't know what we're going to do with the camera to accommodate, like, a great range. So we might actually ditch range. But that was just an example. I want to ditch the other ones, too. Well, actually, I guess 3 is good. So if we ditch range, then the rest works out all right. The thing I liked about range is the capacity to add it to your hero, so that way you can make his auto attacks like extend really far. I thought that would be a cool option for customization. That's an especially cool option for customization, in my opinion, if the mobs are going to attack the hero, because that way you don't have to get close to the mobs in order to crush face. So like maybe, for that customization option, maybe you don't put many points into dash, because maybe you don't really intend to ever close the gap. Maybe, I guess that would make the whirlwind ability kind of awkward if you're trying to do a range strategy and the whirlwind threw the dudes directly at you. Alright, so yeah, whirlwinds could have been nice if this was like a different game, but I think we're probably pretty far away from that at this point. Excuse me. So what? So what then? Right, that was just a lot of opining, and doesn't actually have much to do with what we're about to do. What we're about to do has more to do with, I guess, like at the before I worry too much about the system, the game systems, I'll work on the UI, so that way we can, once we have the UI working consistently, then we'll be able to implement the game systems conveniently and test them conveniently. Let's yeah, this interface. So yeah, you're playing the game. We have the clickability working just fine. I guess like the next big thing is the click and drag. So like these modifiers appearing at the top of the screen, like hypothetically, if you click and start dragging on this one, you kind of want the circle to come with you, and then you kind of want some indication. I might not put in like a highlight. Like hypothetically, for the final version of the game, I might want it so that once you've dragged it over like an ability, like once you've dragged a modifier over an ability, the ability lights up so that you know that like yes, when you let go of your mouse, that will take effect. I don't need that yet though. That will come later once I like start putting in better art, for example. For now, oh yeah. So then the other things. I want you to be able to drag these from the top bar down to the bottom bar, release, and have that one disappear and have the rest slide down. I want to be able to add these power-ups to the bar so that I think ideally like no, yeah, they're gonna fill in as such. They're gonna fill in from this side of the screen. I was gonna say ideally they'd start in the middle and slide over, but if players are expected to like grab these things, we don't want it sliding around underneath them. So yeah, so when you start the game, actually, here, when you start the game, and for a lot of like when you're playing the game, there'll actually be a lot of this UI. Well, I was going to disable it, but like picture instead of these buttons down the bottom, you just have empty circles basically, and instead of these on the top, it's just blank space. So then until you get an ability, like these are just going to stay empty circles. Once you get an ability power up, you can drag the ability down onto your ability bar, and then you will have that ability and can continue to use that ability. And when you get modifiers, you can drag it down onto your hero, or you can drag it down onto the abilities that you have. And then you're cooking. Then you're in business. Then you can start using your abilities, and etc., etc. All sorts of fun stuff. Bombs everywhere. Huh. Bombs aren't very noticeable anymore. I might have to change that. Or maybe I'll just add in a visual effect so that it's clear to you why you didn't notice much effect from the bombs. I guess I should probably add in an animation for the auto attack. Oh, these are all, yeah. Oh yeah, I put them all back to 1. So I guess that's one reason the bomb wasn't very noticeable. There was only one of it, and it was relatively small. But So, in terms of like prep work, in terms of like where to start, yeah. So now, so in the past few minutes we've reviewed what kind of all we need to get working in order for the UI system to work as we might hope it would work. And yeah, so in terms of where to start, I guess we can we'll have to rearrange a bit of how we've set up the UI. Like I basically just like slap these circles here so that I would know roughly what the screen would look like once the buttons were put in. But yeah, that's gonna change. That has got to change pretty fundamentally, because we need to keep a concept. Well, I mean, I guess actually what we have here will probably stay, because we need to have a concept of the location of these buttons. However, the actual like icons that appear in those locations can't be like fixed to that location. They have to be. The player needs the capability to drag them down to the lower bar, and ideally the visual representation of those modifiers will come with. So I should just like not let myself use play mode, because I get way too distracted when I do it. So yeah. So right, we need a concept of a modifier prefab, I guess. So yeah, let's just take one of our buttons, because I need to make icon art for the various, like, like months ago I mocked up what I was thinking the various buttons would look like. I forget. Like, I've changed since then, like what have been my ideas of what even the power-ups and stuff will be. But like, here are some of the ones that I doodled back then. Just like, little simple like iconic representations, just so it's clear, like it's easy to remember like which are which. So I don't have those yet. I might for temp purposes I might just like put letters on the circles or something so that I connect that up. Because I still don't know exactly what I'm doing. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Excuse me. I don't know exactly what I'm doing with like coloration to help convey like to help like reinforce the visual language. So yeah, let's just pretend there's only one kind for now and get that working, and then start differentiating. Let's also pretend. Let's not bother about adding in the abilities. Let's just start you with all of your abilities like we have been doing. Well, all except the one that we haven't actually figured out yet. Yeah, prefab was the thing I said I would do. Oh, grid. Yeah, I remember grid. I was gonna have. I wonder if it still works. Yeah, I was gonna have a sense of spatial location, which I guess is nice, but I really don't want to do that. So if you love the grid that we just saw, I'm sorry. I really don't want to do that. I want your location to be based entirely on I want it to be relative to every other object in the game. I really hope I don't have to add a grid. Gosh, I've forgotten about that completely, and now I will forget about it completely again. Oh, want to see another thing that I made for some reason and then decided, nope. The zone around the hero. Yeah, look at that. Originally, like, I don't know. I gave that, I guess. For some reason. I guess I just thought it looked cool. Oh, I guess I thought for certain, like, ranged attacks, it would be helpful to see, like, exactly how far you were from different things. But no, we're definitely not keeping that either. Where was I going with this? Oh, right, I was going to the UI. So, available 0. I'm pretty sure that is this one here. Actually, let's make it so that the UI is visible as well. Oh, wait, I guess it's going to move around with the camera. But yeah, okay, so avail 0 is the one in that corner. Oh, that's funny. It's funny to see the UI move around. Okay, so this is our prefab for button, or no, this is our prefab, this is our modifier prefab, I guess. Is it just our modifier? I guess it's just our button prefab, so don't change the name of that. What? Avail 0. No. What did I just say? What did I just... Why? Why are you so mad? Okay, good. Ha! Eat it. Can change it in play mode. Or change it right back. Okay. So... I don't... How am I doing the UI? I know the UI is based on the position of these items. Those items constitute the UI, but... Do I actually care about the... I don't think I actually care about the game objects themselves. I think I only really care about the transform. I mean, I think the transform is the only thing I really care about with those game objects. Yeah, right. Local positions, etc., etc. So I'm pretty sure these don't actually need like meshes, but I'm gonna leave them there for now, just so I remember what's going on with all that business. Maybe I'll... Huh. It'd be nice if I could dim them out somehow, so that when I'm working with other buttons on top, they won't be... Actually, no, you know what? I'm just gonna make them super tiny for now. So it's 0.1, 0.1, 0. Oops, not 10. 0.1. Whoop. What? Do you see? Is that negative, or is there just a little fleck on my screen? Why did that go negative? I don't remember pressing negative. Okay. Alright, so now I can remember where they're located, but I don't have to... But now I can put like the other stuff on top of it. And actually that's way too small. 0.2 is probably fine. Alright. So... Now... yeah, so... Right. So the importance of the UI as set up here is, I guess, just so that we know the locality of things. For example, when the first modifier appears, it'll appear in the location of avail 0, the 0th available modifier, and then the next one will appear in the position of avail 1, etc., etc. And then once one of them gets used, they'll all shift down so that... Actually, yeah, they have to shift down. And I'm not like doing anything with multi-touch yet, so I don't really have to worry about them shifting position, I guess. But they kind of have to shift down because some of them will be off the screen, and like those ones have to... I mean, something has to happen with those ones. Eventually, they can't stay off screen forever. I don't think. That would be unfortunate if they were just never to be seen from again. Sorry. So yeah, let's. Oh yeah, we need to have a sense of our button prefab. So how about yeah, public game object button prefab, and then should we keep buttons around? Should we? No, nah. Maybe. We'll see how that goes. Probably. We'll see. So we now have our prefab. So now our prefab needs to have like a type associated with it, because this button can represent any of the abilities. It can represent any of the modifiers. And then the other thing it can represent are potions. Potions are not permanent modifiers. They have a much stronger effect, but it's only a temporary effect. It's kind of like, it's like soups you up for a little while. It makes you like super powered for a little while. Now that I think about it, I guess